And as Jack Hargreaves once said, welcome to the glory hole. He really did say that on one episode. Hope you're doing. That is, of course, there's a proper name for that. It's a Spanish traditional tune, but you may know it as the theme tune for Out of Town. That's not the proper one because I'll get a copyright strike for that, so I had to download one, and then worth it for the $20. Just waiting for everyone to get in. Hello to Steve, Andrew Shaw, Chris B, Nikki and Bunty, or just Nikki actually, Rod Hull, Percy Orlock, Madgaz85, Weekend Lolly Gagger, Ollie, and anyone else? I don't know, but I hope you're all doing well. I hope the picture's looking okay, because frankly, I've had a bit of an evening. This was supposed to be all being streamed on my Chewy box there, but I was only getting 360p on YouTube. I haven't done much YouTube streaming for a while. And then an hour later, I found out that, well, apparently YouTube only previews at 360p. So hopefully you're getting this at 1080p or, well, there was no way to test it basically. But by then I'd scrap using the Chewy box and using the Mac. So let me know in the comments if this is coming through okay, sound levels, and all importantly, the 1080p really. And hello to Daz, Down Under, as well, and Stromberg Thornton. And anyone else? Yes, well, I've had chips for tea. And oddly enough, the last time I went to the chip van was the same, completely unintentionally, the last time I did one of these streams back in November. So had that, and the chip van loved me because I paid in cash, which means it doesn't get hammered for the card payments. Nice thing what we're doing this evening. We're having a nice relaxing stream. I was going to do calls and I thought, can't do with the stress of it. So at some point, about 9:45, we'll be giving away a Kung Fu Flash as donated by the Futures 8-Bit, and runners-up prizes as well, except if you've already got a Kung Fu Flash and you win, then you'll be getting the runner-up prize. Everyone, it was a Patreon thing, and Patreons have submitted pictures, which I have over there, which I'll be judging shortly. I haven't really properly looked at them yet. I've printed them out. I've written on the back if they already own a Kung Fu Flash or if they have a C64 or not. But that's all it. The chips are quite nice. A little bit, well, as good as last time. Mrs. Chinny commented, not as good as last time, but I hoovered them down because I did some cycling this afternoon and got quite wet. So we're missing some things on the desk. Firstly, we're missing wine. Secondly, now come on, what do you think we're missing on the desk? What does every table need? There we go. We've got some. We have some. Our table is complete. We have the aromat. Steve had eggs, chips and beans for tea. Beans. Jonathan H has got managed to get auto-moderated, so I'll just un-auto. There's no moderators on this stream, but if the computer thinks you're rude, then it will moderate you. Don't ask me how it works. I'm not Nick and Bunty. I don't do this stuff all the time. They're organised. There's two of them. Half the effort each. And they have people moderating. I just kind of, this is it. Although I do have a bigger screen now, so I can actually read your comments for a change. Yes, we have aromat, non-spices. Geigerpunk says, yes, it's Jonathan King's table for one, which unfortunately got rumbled because some idiot actually said his name, and obviously he's a self-searcher. Jonathan King, the disgraced pop producer, was posting pictures of all his meals on Twitter. And Harry Flowers, also down under like Daz, had spotted this and started reposting these pictures as Jonathan King's tables for one. And they were quite disturbing meals. There's no way of getting around this. And every meal, he's got aromat on the table. What is aromat? Well, I bought some yesterday morning. I bought that one. As did a lot of people, to try and find out what it was. It's disgusting. It hit £1. I paid £1.25, and that was Waitrose. It is basically MSG and salt. So what it tastes like, it's supposed to be a flavour enhancer, but what you actually get is the only way I can explain it, and I've used this joke several times today on Twitter, it's exactly the same taste as when I fell in the Solent with my mouth open during my level 1 sailing, and you couldn't get rid of that salty saline taste. And yeah, it is just MSG. What's in here? Salt, flavour enhancer, monosodium glutamate, obviously, lactose from milk, wheat starch, and then it's just like all kind of more salt, spices, turmeric, celery seeds, mushroom powder, bay leaves. It just tastes of salt. And I put a little bit on my finger and licked it, and it was horrible. I put it on my potatoes thinking, well, it's supposed to enhance the flavour. It did not. Oh, it did not. Monosodium glutamate is used a lot in Chinese cooking. KFC use it in some of their coatings, and all those really strong flavoured crisps you get from Aldi on the own brand. You think, this is really nice. And then you look at the ingredients and it's all MSG. There's a place for it. There is a place for it. It just wasn't on my potatoes. And I think you have to use a tiny. I didn't use a lot of it. I just kind of put the same amount I'd put salt on my potatoes. And it was just a salty mouthful. And it's what makes a Chinese takeaway taste like a real Chinese takeaway. Yes, it does. So, we've got 47 people and 48 people in. I can see all my stats. This is great compared to the old thing that I had, the old little tiny screen. I've now got this kind of bigger screen up there. I won't move the tripod. We're all kind of, everything comfortable and sorted, and we don't want to move and disturb anything. Aromat, the dodgiest musketeer. Hi to Oz Retro Comp. And Nikki does not want to taste Jonathan King's brackish badness. No, it is brackish. I think that is the word. Quarter of a teaspoon. I had a tiny bit on my finger and licked it, and it tasted like salty death. A quarter of a teaspoon. That seems quite a lot, but I don't eat Chinese food, so succulent Chinese food even. So some people say it's very addictive. Some people say, I used to eat loads and loads of aromat. But I won't be. That's just here for now for table decoration. Hopefully I've told everyone this is the kind of things going on. There's nothing exciting going on here this evening. I'm just going to sit here, chat to you, ask me questions. One thing I have done is we haven't done a Q&A for a while, but I've noted all the questions I've got asked on the not streams, what are they called? The videos, that's it, over the past few months, and I will answer some of them. I've also got this to show you as well at some point, which is a sound sampler for a video that I started to make when I did the hand scanner and the vidi, and then lost a bit of faith in it. Then someone else put out a really good video on sound samplers, and I went, you know what? I just don't want to put this out right now, and I forgot about it. And I came across the sampler the other day, and I went, let's see what it's like. Richard Shaw Wright is watching this during a quiz. I wonder if it's got subtitles. I don't know. I really don't know what it is. I hope they don't think he's cheating on a... Oh, it's not a pub quiz, is it? So, I've got wine. I've got Chateau Balthazar in here. And I have washed my ChinnyVision mug out. Oh, I left something in it. My goodness. It smelled like death. When I must have put it back in the cupboard, not thinking it was clean. And I put it back in the cupboard and got it out again, and it smelt of death. I've just about got the smell of it out. That's always the thing with any kind of plastic cup. Jonathan, Jonathan King does that will affect your blood pressure, and he looks like a man who should probably be looking after his blood pressure at his age and his size, but hey ho. Hi to Neil Lovely. Geigerpunk, I thought you were watching a film, Geigerpunk. I have some 3DO games, but sadly no console yet. Steve had a Technosound Turbo 2 on the Amiga as a kid to sample film bits to use in Pro Tracker. There's loads of... When we look at this in a minute, there's loads of discs in there. I had another sampler, and one of the first things I did was... It was the repeat of Red Dwarf. You remember when they repeated Red Dwarf from the start in 94? And I think it was leading up to the start of Red Dwarf 4, was it? And I got backwards on tape. So I got my Amiga sound sampler. And of course I sampled it all in. Me and my mate were there. And yes, we did come a bit across the bit where it goes, you sad so-and-sos for taking this audio and playing it backwards, which made us jump. It made us jump. Baking soda, I think, gets rid of smells in things. Yeah, the sampler was amazing. We'll look at that in a little bit. And I'm trying to read the comments going past. 3DO stuff. Stromberg Thornton, I did that too, Jenny. There's other stuff. I don't know what else you can do. I've managed to get the worst of it out there. But to be honest, I mainly drink coffee in there anyway, and that strength I have, it kills everything. So, yes, I hope everyone's having a nice day. I went for a cycle, wasn't supposed to rain, but it did. But only for the last 10 minutes, that wasn't too bad. Jonathan King had a face that needed a slap. Yeah, he absolutely does. Loathsome man. A man of many, many sides, because he did all those terrible crimes and he shows no remorse for that at all. Still protests he's innocent. He's not, and went to prison and so on. Also had his fingers all over pop music like a sticky fingered thing, but had an ear for a tune, and many of your favourite tunes of the 70s, 80s, not even 2000s. Jonathan King may have had a hand in just popularising. Ricardo Autobahn, you see on Twitter of the Cuban Boys, has said before that the Cuban Boys had no connection with Jonathan King, and they just found that he was, when they were in the charts, championing their record for them. Hadn't been asked, didn't ask for any money, hadn't met them or anything. Was just going, I think this record's fantastic, and was just out there pushing it. Who Let the Dogs Out, unbelievably, is Jonathan King influenced record as well. There is so much. Practically invented the modern Brit Awards and the format of it. It's a very, very complex area. It's one of those things where you go, this man should be cancelled, removed from everything, and he realised that he basically can't, because his net over 30 years was just so... Well, he discovered Genesis. Perhaps we could cancel Genesis. That's not a bad idea, is it? Let's cancel Genesis. Signed ABBA's publishing rights in the UK year before Eurovision. Heard Ring Ring, thought that's a tune, signed them up. Buku Music, you look on all the listings for ABBA songs, you'll see their Buku Music in there for the UK publishing rights. That's him. That was the company he was working for at the time. So much. Anyway, that's enough of 1970s paedophiles. What else we got going on? Yeah, the Baja Man. Yeah, he had a hand in all that. Of course, I'm thinking these comments, of course, going past us 2 minutes behind what I'm saying. So if I witter for 2 minutes, then it will catch up. So very shortly, what we did on Patreon was a competition to draw a picture of what the real Rod Hull from the Future is 8-bit looks like. And over here, there are a load of entries. I've got them all here. About 9:45, just after going to look at these and make a decision about who wins, because I've not really looked at them too much. I've printed them out, written comments on the back about who wants a Kung Fu Flash or not. And yeah, the Kung Fu Flash, if you haven't seen the review of it, and I don't think my review was particularly good, is a cartridge for the C64 that plugs in the back. It's made of green jelly or green plastic, and by Kim Jorgensen, but the Futurist 8-bit have taken it and done their own thing with it. Plugs in the back, loads discs images, cartridge images, and PRG images, not tape files. Apparently, if you update the firmware, which I haven't on mine, so I didn't mention this in the review, it can now do multi-disc support, apparently. But I can't swear to that because I haven't done it myself. Very convenient to use, SD card on the top, about 40 quid from Futurist 8-bit. All very nice, and has a picture of, well, it has that picture on the front there of the rod hull, and the real rod hull, and Emu and the pink windmill, and someone's going to be winning this mouse mat and some... Oh, look, there's a beer mat in the back as well. You get a beer mat, coaster, and some pens. Someone's going to get that very shortly. I have a drink. There's no music being played on this stream because it is YouTube, and therefore we will get copyright strikes, so we will not be playing music. I was toying. I had a streaming server for a month for something else, and I was toying with the idea of running Chinny FM, which we did one afternoon on Discord. And if you're not on the Discord, join the Discord. I don't know how you find the Discord. Ask me on Twitter. I'll send you an invite. But I did Chinny FM for one afternoon, and then I thought, oh, it's tying up too much kit and stuff. So, yeah, no, it doesn't replace the SD2 IC. I think that's still more compatible. There's some people say about the Kung Fu Flash that it's not very compatible. Now, I didn't have any problems, but I would point out as well, just like the M4 on the CPC, that if you're using old cracks, then chances are you are going to hit problems anyway. You always need the latest and greatest things. And to be honest, the party trick on this is using cartridge files. So, you know, why on earth are you downloading, say, Sly Spy and games like that on disc, which take forever to load, when you can just download the cartridge image and it loads instantly, and it's all so much better. So that's what I do. What else we got going on the comments? Yeah, there are. I mean, you can get Kung Fu Flashes from everywhere, but Rod will give you a 12-month warranty on the unit. So if it breaks, you're not going to have any problems. He just send you another one, and it's all the customs are dealt with. Oh, he's had problems, but he's one of the only retailers out there actually sorted out. So if you order something from the Futurist 8-bit, then you're not going to get a nasty surprise, hopefully, when it arrives at your end, because it should all be sorted out. And yeah, it's all good. And I'm not going to play royalty. Well, I've got the Out of Town tune, but I'm not going to keep on playing that. We don't need music, do we? We don't need disco. We're not licensed for dancing. We're not licensed for dancing. Green jelly was great, but don't get them confused with lemon jelly. Also great, but completely different. Discord. Andrew Shaw there. Andrew Magic Knight. Not noticed any issues, Geiger Punk. No, I've not noticed any issues either, but some people, presumably with old ROM collections of disc images and stuff, are going, oh, it doesn't download my crack from 1985 or something. It's like, well, yeah, that crack was probably designed to be put onto disc or something, and now you're putting it in the cartridge port and shoving it through there. So, it's if it uses any kind of... What happens with the M4 on the CPC is if the crack or the software starts trying to hard write to the internal A drive, that's when things start to go wrong, or the illegal address is used and stuff. So, it's a bit, yeah, just get new cracks. It'll be fine. It'll be fine, What else? Who else we got in? Some bloke is in. Source Code is in. Heyhon. Puds. I don't know some of these people. Quite often people have different usernames on here. So if you want the regulars, hi. Shout out if you've got another name as well. Geigerpunk says he's never found anything that would load Alter Ego. One day I'll get to play it. One day. I was having problems on the Spectrum with UN Squadron last night. I actually had DivMMC is bulletproof, but UN Squadron is distribution denied because apparently, you can't go on any other site and get all those games. But, hand-reading at certain websites means you can't get the games from there. So you end up on some weird, hello, Brendan. You end up on some weird Czechoslovakian website downloading UN Squadron. Got a tap file. Brilliant. Load it in my DivMMC. Doesn't load. Ended up getting an RZX down, putting that into an emulator and then snapshotting each level and then being able to play it. And that worked. And if it was all there on World of Spectrum or Spectrum Computing, it'll be fine, but they still hand-wringing. It's ridiculous. It's just nuts. It's just nuts. It's like, yeah, ask Codemasters if they're going to give me permission. They're not. Clearly they're not. Don't ask Codemasters if they're going to give permission. They'll turn a blind eye. They know it's there. They know it's there, but they can't be seen to be letting people distribute software they've probably lost the paperwork for free. It's like TVS. All those shows in the TVS archive sitting at Disney, like, can never be shown again because they've lost all the paperwork. And it's like that. They won't know who coded Steg or CJ the Elephant or something, will be in contact with them, so they won't be able to get permissions. They can't give permissions. They have to say no. But and that's why every other website gets away with it. Basically, and Codemasters, EA won't give a monkeys. They really won't. Same way Disney don't know they own the TVS stuff unless people go to them and go, hey, did you know you own all of number 73? Oh, we threw all the paperwork for that away. And so on. So, yeah, but everyone's sad about Codemasters, right? It's not Codemasters. It's not the Codemasters we knew. It hasn't been since the PlayStation era where they started churning out racing games and all that stuff. It really... It's not Dizzy. It's not CJ the Elephant. It's not Steg. It's not Seymour. It's none of that stuff. So, it's sad they've gone, but really, it's just not Codemasters. The darlings haven't been there for years, and yeah, it's just not. And it's a name. Alternative is still going, so if you want a cassette with a badly stuck on label with the wrong thing duplicated on it, then I'm sure they're still selling that stuff. The Olivers control Disney. Well, I think Codemasters have to give permission, but the Olivers co-own it all, so. That's why the new Dizzy game came out, because they own the rights to the character, but Codemasters co-own the rights to the game. It's complicated. I didn't really get on with PS1 racing games. All the graphics were too blocky. That was the problem. I don't know if they had to agree. I really don't know. Someone will know if they had to agree. I think the Oliver twins own the rights to the character and therefore they control Dizzy, but the games are jointly controlled by Codemasters and the Olivers. They can't go saying, here, go download Treasure Island Dizzy, because Codemasters clearly own part of it. Fusers 8-bit are selling new blank tapes. I saw that. C20, so assuming 10 minutes per side for that. If Rod's in or not, I don't know, but I'm sure you can fill us in on that, if they're computer cassettes or audio cassettes or what. I'm assuming they're from his usual supplier, who I know who they are, but I'm not going to say who they are, so they're going to be fairly decent quality. Colin McRae wasn't Codemasters. All those games. I had a PS1. I bought it in Southampton for £100, and Dixon's Got 4 games with it, most of which were fair. I never got on with the PS, so I gave it away in the end. It was like, these graphics are really bad. I could play the games on the PC. Why am I playing this on a console? And it was like, there was a game set in Cuba with old cars, a bit like GTA, but pre-GTA, some Codemasters game. I got that racing game that everyone had. What was it called? Gran Turismo. Is that it? I had that on the PlayStation 1. Then I got a PlayStation 2 in Woolworths. I think I had Grand Theft Auto on that, and that's pretty much the only thing I played on it. San Andreas, few other games, and then I got the Xbox, and then I started, and we used to have fun on the Xbox. Which one is it? The Xbox 2, the one that looks like a Dell PC with the curved bits, not the Xbox One. 360, was that it? I had one of those, and we used to be members of a forum where we used to have what's the racing game still going? You can drive normal cars and design them. That one. Perhaps that's Gran Turismo. Anyway, we played that, and that Streets of San Francisco one where you race around, a bit like Midtown Madness, but not. I'm going senile. I can't remember the name of these games. And we used to have fun on that, but yeah, that all kind of stopped as people got other consoles and other games. Then I started ChinnyVision. No, I played Elite Dangerous a bit, and then I started ChinnyVision, and that was that. As he puts the fader down because he just belched, basically. That's what the silence there was. Sorry about that. Wine repeating on me. Yeah, it wasn't Test Drive, was it? I don't think it was Test Drive. Forza Horizon, that's the one we used to have enormous fun on that. There's a video I put together of one of our racing nights on YouTube somewhere, with loads of copyright infringing music, and I recorded it by pointing a video camera at the TV on the replays. And we had Bournemouth taxis. We had taxis, and somebody designed a proper Bournemouth yellow taxi with all the correct logos and everything, United taxis and all that, bright yellow. I had a beaten up one that I used to see around town here, and we used to have enormous fun. We had all these pimped up cars, and we had the flat top 500, which was, if you remember, Stuart Campbell of Amiga Power famously had, and he can't still have it, but he used to still have it when he had his form. He had a Mazda, blue convertible Mazda that he got when he worked at Sensible Software. And he still had this in the early 2000s when we all fell out with him, about 2005. So we had the flat top 500 where we all raced around in these blue Mazdas with Future Publishing logos on them, which I spent ages doing an old style Future Publishing logo. Enormous fun. Gotham Racing, I don't know. If I didn't do ChinnyVision, I might play modern games. I might do that, but I just don't. I don't have the time. I don't even have time for Elite Dangerous, and I really liked that, but I was doing quite well on that, but then they took away the ability. No, they didn't give me the ability to land on planets, and I don't have a pimped up PC, and I was doing more ChinnyVision stuff. So yeah, Cannon Fodder 2 is a bit of an odd one, isn't it? He always maintains the alien levels were a fait accompli when he gets there. He always denies anything that people say is bad about the game, basically. I liked it, to be fair, I liked him. Yeah, his Vimto habit. Oh, the Vimto and the drinking. He bought a whole container of Pepsi syrup. It might have been Coca-Cola once. And apparently he'd drink it raw. Think about how... Just imagine how that stuff must be like. It's expensive as well, because you see it at Macro. And it's like 50, 60 quid for a box of that stuff. Because it's in the soft drink aisle in Macro. So you walk past it and you see these boxes there of Pepsi syrup, and they're just like really super, super expensive. But perhaps that's what he was doing at Sensible Soccer, buying Mazda MX-5s and buying boxes of Pepsi syrup to drink the syrup raw. What else we got going on in the comments? Hello to Plinth YT, Yeldy Gamer Steve, Chumpy Man, and I said hello to Sunbloke as we go past there. Giant Beanbag. What's that? Oh yeah. Oh, you reminded all these. I forget all these people who used to hang out on World of Stuart and the antics. Yes, the beanbag. He procured. Yes, there was so much. Oh, it was so much. It was like everyone wanted to be on that forum. You went there because his writing was interesting. You saw he had a forum. You quickly realised that he was a bit of a volatile git, but he did run this forum with all these excellent people on there. And there were also, I was on there, Geiger Punk was on there, there was loads of people. Malicious Afterthought, who's not in yet because he's doing family stuff, was on there. Ashens was on there. Loads of people I know on Twitter now, I knew on World of Stuart, but you all had to pussyfoot round him. Not upset Stuart, because you'd be kicked off, and that would be that. Until the day he went postal and decided that what he was going to do with his forum, which was a free hosted forum on invasion boards, was it something like that? One of these free services, he hosted it on there. And it was a Sunday. Was it a Saturday? And he unilaterally announced that he was going to be charging £2 a month for access to the forum, at which point it kicked off, and he realised that people weren't there because of him, they were there because of each other, and about three quarters of the forum cleared off to another forum, which eventually became Be Excellent to Each Other, which was a place I used to hang around pre-Twitter. So he's a very knowledgeable guy. Look, right, it's a bit like Jonathan King, and I mean without the kind of stuff with the convictions. He's a very knowledgeable guy about gaming. An incredibly good writer. You read that stuff that he used to do. I was looking at issues of New Computer Express because I've downloaded pretty much the entire run of it. And there was a column that started about 3/4 of the way through the magazine called Games Week. 2 pages each week reviewing the latest games. There was one kind of person, I can't remember who started off, and then it went to Gary Penn. And Gary Penn and this other bloke, all they ever wrote about was 16 bits and the latest and greatest games. It was always about what's the best graphics, blah, 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 latest stuff that you couldn't afford, and so on. And then Stuart Campbell took it over. And I'd never heard of this guy before. And suddenly it was 2 pages each week for everyone. If there was a Spectrum release that was good and out, he'd be recommending it. There was an Amiga release out, he'd be recommending it. It wasn't just the 16-bit charts anymore. He'd do the 16-bit charts and the 8-bit charts. It's like, that someone actually gets it. That it's not just doesn't have to be this elitist thing. And then he started writing for Your Sinclair, and then I came across him in Amiga Power, and he's an incredibly good games writer, the best. People talk about Julian Rignall and people like that. They were just kids. You read some of that stuff in Zap and Crash. It's dire. Campbell, okay, wasn't a mature writer then, but he was actually critically evaluating. Sometimes he could go off on one, granted, critically evaluating the games and doing very good, entertaining reviews that fitted into the magazines he was writing for. He didn't just suddenly, some of the freelancers would just turn up in, say Your Sinclair and just write a review. No, he'd be in Your Sinclair doing it in the style of Your Sinclair, and he wanted to be there. That was the thing. He wanted to be in all these different magazines reviewing games, because those the internal freelancing at Future rate, the rate for internal freelancing at Future was really terrible, but they would give you as much as you wanted. So I found a bit he wrote for Amstrad Action that he didn't even remember doing, about writing his first fanzine, and they got him in to talk about do an article about what to put in a fanzine, and he didn't remember doing that. So he pretty much wrote for every. You'd open a Future publication in 91, 92, and I don't know, like, yeah, late 91, 92, 93. It'd been everything, absolutely everything, all over the place. Yeah, I mean, Julian Vignal was an idol. A lot of kids. Yeah, Nikki, it's so many talented people go off. I mean, look at Graham Linehan. Is it Lineham or Lin? I don't know. But, you know, you watch them. You can't hate Father Ted. You can't. But the guy's a nutcase, you know? And it's so many people just kind of go off on this kind of weird thing. And Campbell's going off funny. He was looking around for some kind of way to earn money for a long time. He cottoned on to the fact Scottish nationalism was a no-brainer, and that's where that all went, and all the other stuff, all the other transphobic stuff, and all the rest of it that's alleged came out far later. Julian Vignal, why did he know? Oh yes, he wrote for CMVG. One of the things that really wound me up as a kid, being an Amstrad owner in the early 90s, was these CMVG in particular that would always review games and give good reviews to games that had just good graphics, or would be on systems that you would never ever going to get your hands on. When the Neo Geo came out, CMVG there, like, oh, Neo Geo, yeah. And you're like, but it's like 200 quid for a game. So just, you know, the console, and then 200 quid for a game, and then how can you even... Yes, you can review this stuff, but like 2 pages going into this game that I'm never even going to play it, let alone own it. PC Engine, they were hen's teeth. If you had an import shop with EU, then lucky you. Rest of us, reading those reviews like, yeah, Mr. Haley looks really good, but I'm never going to see that. I'm furthest I ever get is Software Plus in Aldershot, or I might go down to Southampton twice a year, and I've never even touched a PC Engine. Never played on a real one. I've only ever played it on emulation. It's the only place when I first got, when the emulators first became viable for them, I was like, there, yeah, I want to play this stuff. But, yes, that kind of stuff wound me up, which is why Regal and that lot I never really like. Nikki's managed to get moderated. I don't know why. There you go, something, Nikki, there. I've enabled you. If you get moderated and I don't spot it, let me know and I'll try and unmoderate you. But when I'm off on one, I'm not actually looking at the screen, having a drink. Yeah, so yeah, there's all sorts of kind of weird and wonderful people. We do the review. We do this very shortly. I said 9:45 to everyone, so we'll do that. I genuinely haven't looked at them too much yet because I didn't want to spoil the surprise for me or you. Well, yeah, of course you could get kind of arcade cabinets that turned out had Neo Geo in them, couldn't you? So I probably might have played on something, but I wouldn't have been aware. And it's that early ST and Amiga era thing as well, where, oh, everything's brilliant, it's on the ST and Amiga and everything else is rubbish. And now you look back and it's things like them giving really high scores to the ST and Amiga versions of Chase HQ. And to be fair, CMVG gave excellent reviews to the Spectrum and Amstrad version, but they're the only two that still hold up. You play the ST and Amiga versions, you go, oh yeah, that's they're something, aren't they? What do I look like? Who knows? Who knows? No one... Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Tonight is all about what Rod Hull of the future was 8-bit looks like. You got flashing lights. You got PPMs. You got all this other stuff going on down there. Just to try and keep. You know, I could have done something exciting, but it's such a stress doing all that stuff. I was going to have a test card before the stream, and I started looking at it. I thought, I can't be, if it's not fun, you're just doing stuff for the sake, why am I doing it? So, yes, I'm in the Goofy mask in the Maywood video. I've never seen a real Neo Geo. I never saw a real Elan Enterprise till I went to the Future Was 8-Bits house, where you just whip one out of the cupboard. So, what I got in here? Oh, look, a Jupiter. Not Jupiter Days. An Enterprise 64. It's like, wow. Yeah, he's got everything. He's got absolutely everything. I've got one of his Archimedes still. I need to... When the pandemic ends, I'm going to drive it back to him. Drive back over to the pink windmill. Down that nice long straight road down there. Hopefully not. If the pandemic's over in May, then all that road down to the Rod Hull's house is all seed rape either side for miles and miles. And I've driven down there that time of year for work before and just been like, I'm dying. Everything is burning. I've got the pollen filters in the car, the air conditioning's on. It is so strong. Sometimes I cycle through those kind of fields near here, and that stuff burns. That stuff really, when it's flowering and giving off all that pollen, the burning. Yeah, Rod Hull does he's got so much stuff. He's got so much stuff in that house. Got stuff I can't tell you about. Everything. I've got an Amstrad JY2 down there and stuff. You know, I was thinking bad thoughts the other day. I was thinking I might consider selling my Amstrad PPC 640. Just because, I've got that Dell and I can run PC games much easier. I don't need the dual drive functionality. And they're going for ridiculous money now. And I didn't pay ridiculous money. I paid about 20 quid. I'm thinking, well, pandemic, no work around. I'm not using it. Some mug can, some punter, some lovely person can buy that at a completely fair price and on an auction, and that's fine. But on the other hand, I really like it, and I like taking it along with me to places. When I met Steve Green, I took it with me. I won't. No, you're not having a 6128. I've only got one. I've got my standard 6128, which has got a bit of broken plastic on it, but it's held on with glue. And I've got my German 6128, which I really do need to do something with and service properly. I've actually got a power supply arrived today for my 6128 disk drive, so I can play Sorcery Plus, because I've still got my Sorcery Plus disc. Oh, that game goes for a lot of money these days, and no one's getting their hands on that copy, because it's my copy with all my high scores saved to it. And if I was playing it with a friend, their name's on there as well, on both sides. So I'm thinking of doing a video where if I can see if I can literally beat my 10-year-old self. We'll look at those high scores and go, right, that's the score. Can 40... What am I, 41? It's probably 1978, someone worked that out. 42? Dunno. Anyway, I want to see if I can beat my 10-year-old self. So, and I won't be able to cheat because the disc will be in the drive, so I won't be able to multi-face it. So, we'll see how I go, but that'll be something. That's the thing, the PPC 640 is, you can take it with you. I took it down to the Marquis of Blandings when I met Steve. And so he'd know when he walked in which nutcase he was meeting. And I'm standing there in the entrance with a PPC 640 without batteries in it. Because I'm not stupid, because that thing, good God, I'm 43. Just thinking about that at the moment. BBC, mine didn't cost me anything. I saved it from going in a skip. I wish I'd saved some more. Ironically, I saved a green screen monitor as well at the same time. I lost that years ago. So, yeah. Right, we're 1 minute away from the grand draw, the big event of the evening. ChinnyVision has a Patreon, and what I asked people on Patreon to do, because Patreon won't let you do draws anymore because it's against their rules. So you have to have some kind of skill involved or for it to be allowed. So last time we did the video competition, this time we're doing drawings. And I asked people to draw what Rod Hull of the Future as 8-Bit looks like. And what they're going to do, they're going to win a Kung Fu Flash, or if they've already got a C64 and a Kung Flu Flash, turning into that horrible man from America, the Kung Fu Flash, if they've already got one of these or don't have a C64, they get this instead. And I might throw in some ChinnyVision pens for ones that make me laugh. Right, I'm shuffling these up. I'm not going to know who they are from unless they've written their name on them, like the first person here. Let's move my wine. Right, so, well, I'm off mic. Right. So our first one of the evening, right, I know who that's from because it's from, he's written his name on the front of it. I'm looking at the back. Okay. Richard Shaw Wright has entered this. I could do some gallery music. Do 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 do. That's Richard Shaw Wright's entry. Oh, what's this? Looks like a picture of Douglas Camfield. Doctor Who joke. That's from Steve Green. And it... yeah, I can see that. I can see that. Rod Hull with his many, many jobs. And Bernie there as an emu, which is... that's disturbing. Oh. Well, there's so much detail in here. He's got a 100-meter wide C464. All the different jobs going on. This is pretty much fish food, day job, there, dodgy knees, dodgy joints, coffee, pot noodle, dreaming of sleep but not getting it. Yeah, no. That's good. Go see that in there. That's good. That's good. Well, this is a... why is there a green lady in the bed? What's Rod going to do to the green lady? What's going on? I don't know. I don't understand. Is that Princess Peach or someone in these kind of gaming area that I know nothing about? Is that it? What's he doing? Well, no, I've got a picture, and that was from, sorry, see, that's from Mark Wilson. So I got distracted by the strange green lady. Mark Wilson. This is from Mark Heslop. And what I did say was this isn't an art competition. It's merely to get around the restrictions of Patreon. So it's really going to be the one that made me laugh the most or the most amusing. So that's Emu with look what I found in the freezer. It's a cartridge. It's good. This is from... I think this one came through last night, just before the dead. Ollie Wilkinson. Rod looks a bit scary there. That's Rod does look a bit scary. And he's got his jelly. Oh, he's got his aromat there. A large CPC 464, always a bonus thing there. Emu is there. Looks a bit more like a turkey. Chips everywhere. This is fairly accurate depiction there from Ollie. This is from Andy Magic Knight. I had to censor this one. I did have to censor this one because he wrote a word on there. Lazy ST programmers. Is this a picture of Andy Magic Knight programming? I think he's actually misunderstood and drawn a picture of himself. Is that it? Yeah. And this is from Malicious Afterthought, who is currently doing his family stuff and therefore not allowed to watch. He's drawn a robot with Futurist 8-bit discs. My toner, I'm having problems with toner coming off my paper at the moment. I think 'cause I'm not printing much stuff. It's a robot and with a Futurist 8-bit disc, and he's taken a photograph of the picture and it's a bit shiny up there because the flash has come out there. Right, who do I think? I think all my pages are stuck together. I'm just sorting over here. No, it's quite difficult. It's quite... I'm gonna... do that one. I think I'm going to... These are the three that amuse me the most. I think this is going to be it. Right, I'm going to award a runner-up prize of a ChinnyVision pen and anything else I can stuff in an envelope. Probably I've got some other Features 8-bit mouse mats down there. So I'm going to give an envelope full of stuff to Green Lady, which is Mark Wilson. Or is it Mark Wilkins? I can't remember. Can't read my own writing now. I think it's Mark Wilson. Mark Wilson gets that one there. So well done to him. That's a runner-up prize. I'm going to put that up there. Another runner-up prize to Ollie. Because it is accurate, but Rod doesn't look that scary. That looks like some kind of bloke who beats you up in a dark alley. So I think you're going to get a runner-up prize as well. And the winner, I think it wasn't an art competition, but accuracy. I think Rod's going to want this on his wall. I'm going to have to send him a copy of this. It is quite superb. Well done to Steve Green, who doesn't need a Kung Fu Flash. So I'm the second runner, the kind of runner-up to that was Ollie. So Ollie, you get a Kung Fu Flash. Steve, you're going to get the kind of this stuff and a few other bits and pieces, whatever I can pull together. So well done to all three of those. I'm now going to jot down who got what as I reach over. So that's going to be here. That's Kung Fu Steve. Kung Fu mouse mat. Kung Fu Flash for Ollie, and the pack of stuff for Mark. It wasn't intended to be an art competition. It might look like it's just ended up as that. I had no idea people were going to take it kind of seriously. All I wanted was a scrawl on a piece of paper, just to get around the draw thing, basically. I've got to think next time of a way of doing this, because clearly, send one to Rod and he can stick it on his wall if he's here. What does Rod think of his portrait? I don't know, I've not been looking at the comments. So I'm just going to have a quick 2-second drink here. Chateau Balthazar. Not put any aromat in it at all. Second point of order of the evening. I'm going to do this in 2 parts. This must be fascinating viewing because nothing's going on over there. I've written down a kind of set of Q&A from people, and throw stuff in the comments if you can, if you want to follow up on any of this. This is stuff that crops up in the comments again and again and again. So I'm just going to run through a few of these and we'll see where we're going. So the big comment is, I want more coverage of Machine X. Had one the other day. Someone wanted a load of coverage of the Atari 8-bit. And the answer to that is tough. It comes out as it comes out. You know, ironically, stuff like the Atari 8-bit does really well on views, but it's just not how the videos happen. But if you've not got one of the big 5 machines, Amstrad Spectrum, Commodore, ST Amiga, we do have Spy Hunter coming out soon, and that's going to have BBC and Atari 8-bit on it. And I know I've not been doing enough stuff with the BBC Micro community. I'm really sorry. I need to do more stuff. I know. We've also got Akari Warriors, which has the C16 and the MSX2. First review on the MSX2, and also Test Drive 2, the dual, is in edit at the moment. That's going to be PC, ST, Amiga, C64, Spectrum, CPC, MSX, SNES, and Mega Drive, which is, I think, the most formats I've done since SimCity. And I've ordered an Archimedes game today as well, Premier Manager, because the Archimedes is a pain. Because Archimedes, guys, right? Archimedes community, Acorn community, it's all very well having sites with all the games on them. If you haven't cracked them, I can't use them. You download Zool onto your disk, you put it into your Archimedes, and lo and behold, it still asks for the spinny wheel of doom thing from Gremlin. And I don't have my Amiga copy anymore. And therefore, if you don't crack the games, you may as well forget putting them on a site. It's just useless. And Premier Manager, which I got for a tenner, comes with its spinny wheel. So we'll do. And I've got the Mega Drive version as well, so I can do something with that. Other thing, your channel deserves more viewers. I'll read that again. Your channel deserves more viewers. No, it doesn't. Everything finds its level. More new games coverage, please. There are other channels that do that stuff better than me, frankly. I only want new games as an occasional thing. And also, you end up with some of these channels that just do new games that just give a kind of thumbs up to any old rubbish as long as it's new. And I want to recommend. I pontificated a long time before I included CPC Soccer in that CPC game roundup. But I thought at the end of the day, the problem was so apparent when the footage was on the screen that you really could not, it was justified. It wasn't like me saying, oh, the gameplay's terrible. It's like, no, the scrolling is actually headache inducing. So I didn't feel so bad about that. Stemming out of all this stuff is you don't do enough of hardware or software or whatever, or do this or do that. We've got hardware stuff. I'm doing the sound sampler soon. That's going to be done. Yes, Oz Retro Camp. Oz Retro Camp is something entirely different. Oz Retro Comp, Archimedes are horribly expensive. And the thing is, for all that money, and for all the money I spent on mine, I got a good deal on mine. What you're running on it? Because there ain't a lot of software to download. And if you want to go and buy the originals, oh yeah, you're going to be playing through the nose. Premier Manager is seemingly not a game in demand by Archimedes users, because you'll be paying a lot more if you want something that's actually not just a direct Amiga port. How much they go for? Well, if you buy one with a battery that's rotted to death and burnt out half the circuit board, then not as much as one that's guaranteed to work. And that's the problem, because I bought one and it turned out the bottom left-hand side of the circuit board was all rot, and then I drove it to a guy to repair it, and then he vanished from the face of the earth. So that was great. Then Rod lent me his, and his went wrong. And then I ended up buying one off a guy off Stardot who had properly sorted it out. It has a rechargeable battery separate away from the main board on a separate thing. So they are silly. CJE down in Littlehampton have them. They cost an arm and a leg. And as Geigerpunk said, they are money pits. And what are you going to run on them? I had all these grand ideas of what I was going to do with the Archimedes for the channel. How much have I done with it? I've done one roundup video because that's of games I could just get running. I came to do SimCity. They hadn't cracked SimCity. Absolutely nuts. Hey, Han, you got moderated there. I've just unmoderated you. Again, sorry, that's just the auto mod thing. I didn't know it was on. I don't know how it works. I'm not an expert streamer. Yeah, you get that Archimedes. Great. You have that nice bars. You get that software you got with it. And then, right, I can download stuff and put it on my 720k disc and so on, or 800k there. And it's just not like that. You copy stuff across, it doesn't work. You copy stuff across, it does work. But then you need the copy protection because the Acorn people haven't crack the stuff, and there's no way around that really. I've only got it. We got the UK is Belinda from the Archimedes. That's on Rod's Archimedes. That is gold. I hope he archives that disc when it goes back to him, because that kid's schoolwork is gold. Right, what else? Where was I? Right, the Rod Hull interview on ChinnyVision 2 should be on ChinnyVision 1. Perhaps, but I also want to keep the more unusual stuff away from the main channel. And I also need to get ChinnyVision 2 to 1,000 subs and the hours threshold, so it gets its proper upgrade to be a proper channel. Because there's like this threshold of stuff that you need to meet, and it's still nowhere near. So I just want to get that up to just kind of ticking along at the minimum that needs to be at. Hence why I want to put stuff on there. Also, I just like doing stuff that doesn't take much effort, but I don't want to put on the main channel. So ChinnyVision, if you haven't got ChinnyVision 2, just go type in ChinnyVision 2 and subscribed. When will you cover Game X? Factors in how games get covered. What's available. And that may be that I've got another crack disc open on the ST and I see, oh look, UN Squadron's on there. I'm going to start recording that as well. So there's that. There's what machines do I have working? What games do I have working? What machines are out? Sometimes I want to play games like Star Gliders. That's why that got covered. Test Drive, which I'm working on at the moment, happened because I had the Dell 486 out. I was trying to copy Flight Sim 5 across to it on about 12 discs. It didn't work, but I did get Test Drive running, so that's why Test Drive's happening. Why didn't you cover version X of a game? When Atari Warriors comes out, it's going to be, why haven't you done the NES version? It's because I don't own the machine, or in some cases with the PC, I've had trouble getting it running, or the game was a USA version that doesn't really fit in. I've made the PC a bit of a rod for my own back, because it's a lot of hassle to get a game working on there, unless it's the 486 and that's running it fine. That's much quicker. But if you've got to get the Amstrad out the cupboard, get that set up, and even then, capturing from VGA is a pain. It requires extra equipment, separate sound recording, and the capture quality is really bad, as you would have noticed. And frankly, I don't believe there's a single person who watches ChinnyVision for its PC coverage. It's just there as a kind of, this is interesting thing to look at, isn't it? Here's Spy Hunter on the PC. That's about it. Who writes the scripts for me? No, there's no script. There is one script in development. I'm going to do another thing about Amstrad, another Amstrad video. Joy for everyone interested in that. But that's something I wanted to do, so I've kind of started writing something. But whether ever it gets done, I don't know, because sometimes I half do stuff and then sit on it for 3 years. Like the first Amstrad video, really. Well, I sat on it for absolutely ages. Why aren't you a guest on Podcast X? I don't decide who invites people on their podcasts. I've done stuff for Who Trial, which is a Doctor Who podcast, and I did stuff for Daz's podcast in Australia. I've also turned down a couple I didn't feel was appropriate because I couldn't talk about the subject, and I don't want to go on and just try and just be one of those people who goes on things and just talks crap. Either I know it or I don't. If I don't, I'm not doing it, basically. Which also comes down to another question. Why don't you do a collab with X? And X is always someone I've never heard of, by the way. I'm just like, who? Who's this person? I've never heard of them. I don't know who they are. And stuff like that's time, and I like to focus on what I'm doing. I told one person about 6 months ago that I wouldn't do a collab with them because the game they wanted me to look at, I wasn't going to give the opinion that they were going to want to hear. They were doing this roundup to say how wonderful this range of games was. And it was like, but no, I can't do that. So I just said, no, thanks. Looking back at the comments, sorry. The sales figure deep dive on second channel. Yes, Ollie, that was from New Computer Express, and that was quite interesting, even though the figures are limited. And if you want to know what computers were selling what games in 1991, go to ChinnyVision 2, and you will hopefully learn something very kind of strange. I knew... one of the things is that there's this kind of misconception that the ST was this hugely successful machine, and actually it's not doing hugely well in 91, and that's the perception is, oh well, the ST did brilliantly from the mid 80s through to like 92, and then the Amiga overtook it. The sales figures we got are from mid 90 to middle of 1991. Amiga's, whoa, it's way ahead. PCs way ahead. ST's time with the Spectrum and C64 in terms of kind of sales, so it kind of blows your mind, really. I don't eat aromat as a snack. I do not recommend anyone eat aromat. It is revolting. It is horrible. Do not buy it. Sip of wine. There's loads of, Stu, there's loads of people doing Spectrum games, to be honest. There's a million retro channels and podcasts and everything. So much stuff. I don't see much. There's so much stuff out there. I don't see most of it, really. Who's not on speaking to? I don't know. I pass. Don't know. Lee and Herring. I think are they speaking this week? Don't know. More magazine reviews. That came up recently because I did magazine reviews, and I'm always torn. Ha ha. And I have written out a few answers here, by the way, to help me along. So there is a kind of script. Always torn with these because I think they just feel a bit like lazy content. I'm also happy talking around mag because I actually read back in the day. So people saying, "Can you do Zap 64?" It's not going to fly. That's just not going to fly because I just don't. I didn't read that magazine and I got no affinity for it. And I can talk around Amstrad Computer User, I can talk around New Computer Express, I can talk around your Sinclair post from Future onwards. I can talk about Amstrad Action, computing with the Amstrad, that stuff, but Crash, Zap, I read Crash for the last few issues at Europress, and that was it. So yeah, I might do some more. I'm not kind of like, I don't know. Have I lost a page here? I've missed some questions here. When am I going on Twitch? Never. No, I'm not. Because it doesn't really match up with what I do. I just can't see how you can do ChinnyVision as I currently do it, which, you can't really do it live. Otherwise we'll be doing it now live. There'll be hours of plugging and unplugging machines, generally messing up stuff around. I spent 2 hours last night messing around with Acorn Electron, and I was getting nowhere. Does anybody want to watch that live? Because I don't want to live through that again. It wasn't working. And people don't want to watch stuff of not working or me having to find the correct hacked versions of a game to get it working. And it's a pre-recorded thing. You need to do the prep and get it all and swap the SCART cables over and so on. It doesn't work. You'd be swapping it. Even got the Mega Drive. The Mega Drive needs the entire capture setup swapping out. Because I plug it into the normal capture setup and let's get a black screen unless I flick the Mega Drive into NTSC, where miraculously somehow it starts working. Don't know why. So I have to swap everything out. What I had to do yesterday night. So yeah, 20 minutes of messing around with cables and moving equipment and so on, not going to fly. What else we got? And there's another one, final one. But I'm going to leave that one a minute. Just look at the comments. Every school's different though. Steve, we had a lot of people say, "Oh, I didn't have any Amstrad owners at our school." We had loads. because you're an Amstrad computer dealer in town. And if you have that, and they're one of the 8 people selling computers, then you're going to end up with a whole load of Amstrad users in one area. Because if you were going to go and buy a computer otherwise, where were you going? You were going to Guildford, Aldershot perhaps, Southampton, Winchester, Reading, or and if it breaks, you've got to take it back there. You go to the Amstrad dealer in town, you buy your Amstrad. If it breaks, you take it back there and get it repaired, get full service. And for your 400 quid, you'd expect that. What's that? £1,000 in today's money, if not more. So, yeah, Tanley sold the ST, of course, Spectrum in our town. Didn't have many Spectrum owners around. I knew one at primary school and a couple at secondary school. And a few C64 owners, loads of Amstrad owners, and loads of Amstrad owners who upgraded to Amigas. So, Amstrad pusher. That's it. So it depends on, it's not that kind of homogenous world we've got today where every town's got an out-of-town shop or everyone just buys off Amazon or something. Everywhere was different. I dare say if you had a local computer dealer that imported MSXs, you'd end up with a cluster of MSX owners. Piracy killed off the Atari ST. I don't think it ever... The figures seem to suggest it never really overtook the CPC in terms of sales for the software houses, how much money they were making out of it. When you get to that kind of point, then you know it's a useful. It was initially ahead in the 16-bit market, but you get to that point where you're saying, "Are we going to bring out Wing Commander on the ST? Are we going to develop it for that? What are we going to do?" So it's yeah. Yeah, you get cluster of B bonus as well, and that comes down to Acorn dealers as well, and schools buying them. Our school got rid of its BBCs apparently. Apparently they first started off with PETs, they then had BBCs, and when I got there, and I never got into this room, they had a room full of Amstrad CPCs. I'm absolutely, hand on heart, absolutely true. 464s with external disk drives and 6128s. And then in end of 90, they did a deal with a company called Opus Technology. And they sponsored our new... It was 91. They sponsored our new CDT centre and called it the Opus Technology Centre. And they kitted it out with 286 Opus PCs running Windows 3. And the teachers bought all the Amstrads cheap. So all the teachers then had Amstrads. And you could sometimes tell because they'd do handouts and things. And you think, that's tractor feeder paper through an Amstrad DMP 2000. Because I knew what it would look like. And the CDT department in the teacher's office had a 6128 and a DMP 2000 printer for just kind of printing stuff out, I guess. And there was this really bad kid in our class, nasty-minded little git called Phil. And apparently his dad owned a joystick company. And I found an article years ago about it, and it was true. I thought he was lying, and it was true. And this MD of this joystick company comes across as one of the most nasty-minded, poisonous people you can meet, and then suddenly it all made sense. And I've not found that article since, and I swear I didn't dream it. I've got to find it. It's in one of the early Amstrad magazines. I've looked for it so hard. Got to find it. But he wanted to go and cause trouble, and wanting to get in the curry favour with the bad kid, the class bully. I said, look, don't do any of that. Go into when the teacher's out in the other room, go into their office. You see that panel at the back of the DMP 2000 printer, those little switches. Mess them around. Flick them around. Because they will never get that back, and that printer won't work properly again. It will just print gibberish until they get those dip switches back. And lo and behold, it became... I was party to this piece of chaos, and the class bully left me alone for all of 3 days. But yeah, he went in there and he's looking at me. I'm going, yeah, just fiddle up with those. Yep. Straight out the room again, and he screwed their printer up royally, and I'm not sure they ever got it working again. Naughty me, but things you do at school to survive 3 days of not being beaten up. BBC's, loads of BBCs in schools right up until 2000s, I think. There are loads of them everywhere. Trying to think when my master came out of Farnham College. Summer 95, when I rescued my one. I spent so much time trying to scrub off Farnham College off the top of mine, because for years, obviously, it looked like it was stolen. But now I think it looks really cool, because clearly it's not stolen, and you can see it came from an educational establishment. And I spent so much time taking chewing gum. You know, there's the 2 little cartridge ports on the top of the master. One of those was completely jammed up with chewing gum. It took me forever to pick it all out. Lovely. The Beavs and the PCs did well, because at the sixth form they'd all been Beavs at one stage, and they got rid of them and then got Nimbus PCs, and then later proper Windows PCs from Dell. But the maths and physics department kept their Beavs because, and that's where mine came from, they ran specific software to do with maths and physics on the BBC Master. So they had like 5-6 of them with green screen monitors. If they had Micro VTech Cubs, I'd have been carrying one of those down the hill, no problem. But all they had were these cheap Philips green screens with them, which was a shame, really. Our gallery of TV studios, yes, our TV studio at uni had a Beeb with the ROM that does the VT clocks on it, and that's what therefore there was a ROM you could buy. So you turn the Beeb on, it would instantly be loaded up into this bit of software, typed in the name of your program, other bits, and how long you wanted the VT clock to run for. Press a button and the VT clock starts running. They were hanging around in all sorts of places for absolutely ages. I've got a dot matrix here, actually. I've got a star dot matrix that I got with that Acorn full of rot, and I thought I'd do a video on it. I bought a ribbon for it. I had it working, but it wasn't putting the ribbon around. I thought I'd put it aside for another day, and it's been still sitting there 5 years on top of the filing cabinet in the house. And Mrs. Chinny goes, "You do anything with that print?" I go, "Oh, they're really expensive. The dot matrix that's a really good one. I can't throw it out. Must do something with it." There were some pets hanging around at secondary school. They weren't used. The RE department had one at the back, and I think there was a couple hanging around the science lab, but they weren't used for anything. They were, would be worth a fortune now, very collectible. I've never had, my friend Jamie who had a Spectrum and a C64 and then an ST and an Amiga, and he had a GX 4000. His dad had a PET, and I can't say it's never fired anything up within me, and I certainly don't have the room here to do anything with. It's one of those machines where I just go, yeah. I can recognise the brilliance of it. It's like the Amstrad PCW. Yeah, brilliant machine, sold a hell of a lot. What am I going to do with it? It's not even like the Archimedes where you can look at it on the side and go, well, at least I own Archimedes, look at me. And hope that you're going to just do something with it one day. You're just going to boot it up for 5 minutes and go, yeah, this is really cool, but actually what it's best at is a word processor, and I ain't going to use it as a word processor, so there's no point me doing it. Futurist 8-bit has pet kits. I think they're running short on them. Might have to have a word with Rod about that. I'm not sure how many he's got left of those. Disclosure, I was offered one and said no thanks. I just don't. I'm not just accepting stuff for the sake of accepting stuff. It's very kind of people to offer stuff, but I don't feel any affinity for the machine. It really doesn't tie in. And what am I going to do with it? You know, I did those speech synthesizer reviews for the CPC. They are brilliant bits of kit, especially the latest one. It plays MP3s. You're sitting there with your CPC going, this is brilliant. Once you reviewed it, what are you doing with it? It's sitting there in a box in the house because I don't have time to mess around with my computers. And everything I'm doing was a ChinnyVision. So it's kind of like, well, nice kit to play with, but unless I get kind of locked down, but hey, we've been even during lockdown, I've still not had the time or inclination to go and play with it. So it's yeah. You know, the real thing, yeah, they're nice machine. It's just time to get one of those when no one wanted them. They're a bit like that R360 cabinet someone found in a... What have I dropped on the floor? I've dropped something on the floor. Oh. It's a bit... Pets are a bit like that R360 cabinet someone found in the field in Northern Ireland. It's like, this is really expensive and cool. We don't need it anymore. Let's stick it into storage. And then it's just kind of rust and... yeah, just kind of useless. So let's move on to the last thing on my list of stuff that people asked. Because I get these are the other thing I get is people offering me stuff, like I said. God, what did someone offer me the other day? I don't know, it's so bizarre, but I was just thinking, what on earth made you think remotely that I'd be interested in that? It was some kind of gift box thing. Oh, we really want to do this and blah, blah. I said, no. I know I do a lot of stuff for the future with 8-bit, but their stuff is pretty cool and I do like it. I wouldn't say it if I didn't like it. But yeah, some of the stuff is just bizarre and you just think, no, I can't. Why? It must be so hard being someone like Ashen's, kind of with all those viewers, and therefore it must be, I get a tiny amount of it. He must get like 1 billion times more than I do. And he must be sitting there having to be polite and just shaking his head going, why are you offering me this? And then having to waste time typing up replies to these people going, oh, I don't think we can do anything with that. Right, so the other comment I get asked is, other people, how do I make my retro channel a success on YouTube? And the first answer is, right, you're asking me, are you? Because I do a lot of things you shouldn't do. Incidentally, in real life, I do advise corporate clients on this stuff. And we do have proper, you know, some things doing pretty well. But ChinnyVision's a hobby, so I run it as how I want to do it. And so if you want to make your YouTube channel a success, you don't do a lot of things I do, right? If you have titles, keep them to 5 seconds. Cover stuff a global audience wants to see, not the Amstrad CPC and BBC Micro. Keep your videos short and structured, not 35 minutes on carrier command. Give a compelling offer in your title and thumbnail, whereas I like to number things so I know where I am. So it always says ChinnyVision at the start, which is really not what you should be doing, but I do it. I'm kind of like the anti of how to do this. So you offer a compelling title such as 5 times Mario showed his bum. There you go. You want to watch that, don't you? Of course you do. Well, I wouldn't, but you might. You make a thumbnail and it's smiling face, a female smiling face. This is the thing Amiga Format found years ago with their covers that caused the plague of, I don't know why Oz has been censored there. Amiga Format caused the plague of smiling female faces on PC magazines for the next 10 years because they found, completely by accident, magazines with a smiling female face on the cover sold more. And as a result, every PC and hardware magazine for the next 10 years did exactly that. If on your thumbnail you can have a smiling female face and a little bit of cleavage, then, and I'm not endorsing this by the way, I'm just telling you, what works, then all the better. Cartoon cleavage, even better. Nintendo cartoon cleavage, oh, you know, that's the gold, right? That's what you got to do. Again, I shake my head at this stuff, but this is where the money is. I don't have to worry about this stuff. That's why people do it, because it works. If you can, try and hitch your wagon to an established YouTube person, because they'll be able to promote you and do collabs and things with you. You know, you've got to get your face everywhere and hassle everyone. You've got to be really, really annoying. Again, not saying I want to do personally, but if you want to make a success of this stuff and you want to be a professional, which a lot of people do, then you're going to have to do this stuff and just really push yourself and get your stuff out there, make as much noise as possible. I'm not being facetious. It's true. It's true in any walk of life, I'm afraid. You know, and to be honest, judging by the established YouTubers who are now all on Twitch anyway, YouTube probably isn't the platform to be on. It's probably Twitch. I don't know how the economics stack up, because my corporate clients clearly have no interest in going on Twitch. So it's not something I need to look at. Everyone's getting censored. I don't know why. Just for nuts there. I've uncensored that. Twitch is probably where it's at. I don't know how the economics of it stack up, because, as I say, corporate clients aren't going to want it. So, you know, no idea. You got to try to appeal to a wider demographic. ChinnyVision demographic, and I know we got Nikki in tonight and other people in tonight. ChinnyVision demographic is basically 45-year-old blokes, and that's fine. That's fine, because they're the only people who are going to be interested in Amstrad CPCs, frankly. So this isn't a surprise. I'm not expecting 20-year-olds to be watching ChinnyVision going, oh, I really want to play Death Kick on the Amstrad CPC to see how bad it is, because it ain't happening. So I'm in this kind of very narrow thing, and you're going to have to cast your net wider with more modern stuff, remakes, other platforms, Nintendo, everywhere, America. ChinnyVision is about 50% UK. There's things, places like Germany, Australia, stuff, and there's a bit in America. But you can see all the people who want to hit it big, they have to hit America. Sometimes stuff like Carrier Command suddenly bleeds over. And go and look at the stats on that video, because it's done significantly better than other stuff. And that extra chunk isn't for UK or anywhere like that. It's America. And there's a lot of clicks there. But you can't really do that with BBC Micro, Archimedes, CPC and stuff. Test drive probably do well. That's not the reason I'm doing it. I'm doing it because I had it running. But that's the kind of game. Did Turtles do what? I can't remember. Yeah, cat videos and that kind of stuff. Yeah, so, and you got to relentlessly keep at it. Relentlessly. Don't go on social media and moan about how it isn't working. Nobody cares. Sympathy clicks won't make you a success. Only grinding away at it will. And you know, and if you don't think 50,000 views of video is the be all and end all, then just do it for the enjoyment. Validation comes from you enjoying yourself, not from the numbers on the screen. And YouTube is particularly bad at this stuff, because they now give you all these graphs they push on you in YouTube Studio that shows you how your video is doing or not doing. And you may have a video that you're really happy with that I know is not going to be popular. But YouTube go, oh, your video is doing really badly this week compared to this. Here are the points you've done particularly badly. And you can't avoid it. You log in, it's trying to make you feel deliberately bad. I can't imagine how some people with mental health issues, esteem issues, would feel to have this kind of high and low of YouTube going 1 minute, you're doing really well, you're doing better than this, and then next minute going, you're down, you're really bad, oh, have you thought about doing this? It's nuts. Satisfy yourself. If you're going to be a professional, set out a game plan for what you're doing and stick to it. and get there. If you're just doing it for enjoyment, don't let the metrics bother you. Obviously, I can't avoid looking at them, right? Because you're going to know, and there becomes, when you've been doing it as long as I have, you will log in, you'll check the comments before you go to bed. And of course, the first thing you see is the numbers. And you kind of know where videos are by the time you go to bed. By the time I go to bed on a Thursday night, Friday morning, probably about 2 a.m. at the moment, if a video is near 1,000 or just below 1,000 since it went online that afternoon, I know it's doing pretty well. If it's down 500-600, that's kind of doing okay, and that's fine. I can't avoid that because I know just through 6 years of doing this, okay, I've not been doing it on Thursdays as long, but because of that habit of checking the comments, and I do respond to all the comments if I can, so I'm on there, and so you can't avoid it, so you're going to see it. But from there on in, and by the time the next video's gone online, I'm not really paying attention. Sometimes it's a surprise how it's like, where did Turbo Outrun suddenly do all those numbers? I don't understand. It's not a lot. It's like 5. I say not a lot. I make it sound like I'm talking down myself, but that may be a lot to a lot of people. I don't know. There's people like Kim and Octavius and so on, and Techmoan and other people who clearly do big numbers. And I went on Techmoan's latest video today. It must have been on 30,000 already, because I was thinking about this bit I'm doing now. And clearly he's doing it full time, so he's doing those numbers. But, and there's no adverts on ChinnyVision, so it makes no odds anyway. But yeah, just take the validation from what you're happy with and how you're walking away from that. And for God's sake, don't let that horrible interface in YouTube Studio. Learn from it when you need to, because you might genuinely learn something from it. But don't let it drive you into what it wants you to do, because then you're just a slave to this algorithm at YouTube HQ, which is all about getting their maximum advert views. That's about it. Stromberg says, there was this gaming YouTuber I heard of recently, put a ton of effort in, didn't get far, so deliberately started making pandering trash, told everyone he was doing it, and he's huge now. There's one person we can all think of who did that, and no more said. It's fair play. These people have got to make a living. And it only becomes an issue when they start, as some of them did. Another person I can think of who isn't huge but is a content thief, when he started nicking people's footage. There's a whole world of people out there who think they can take shortcuts, and fair play. Sometimes those shortcut works. I've had my footage ripped off. Had another video from email from YouTube about it today. Not going to do anything. It's taken them 3 months to get this far, and the video that has got my ripped off footage in it now has 90,000 views. So, and they've got adverts on it, so they're making money off it. And it's like, God, if I did that to ITV or something, I'd have the entire channel taken down in seconds. If it's a small channel having their stuff nicked by a big channel, forget it. I mean, there's people who work the YouTube algorithm, Wagoo. There was something about it, about working who was doing it? Was it John Cadogan of Auto Expert, or was it someone else? He did a deliberately worded description designed to trigger the YouTube algorithm. Where you mentioned things like PewDiePie and stuff in there, and you get a certain combination of words that sets it off. I mean, sure. I mean, yeah, if you want that in your description of Oh Mummy, then your Oh Mummy video, then fine. But yeah, just one of those people who we not speak on her hat in the channel. I couldn't possibly say if he or his wife have a hat. Mensky is the great underrated YouTube person. He's a really nice guy. He's brilliant. I've dropped so many references to him in ChinnyVision videos. He's a spinning head along with Paul Gannon in the Real Ghostbusters video. Paul Gannon's a spinning head, Mensky's a ghost. And then both of them also appear in the Ghostbusters 2 video. So yeah, it's they're good. Mensky, one credit champ, nice guy, good videos. Go watch him. I mean, I can sit here championing people like Geigerpunk and Rob down in Australia, because there's Geigerpunk's Rob, and I always refer to Australian Rob as Australian Rob. I can sit here championing them all day, and you can make a blind bit of difference. It needs everyone to be doing it, and you know, you can shout about these things, shout about people, but you can't fight this stuff of Nintendo cleavage, outrage, and even some of the people I really like sometimes do videos where they it's verging on the clickbait, and I don't, you know, nobody I mention here, but they're making a living from it, and they have to. There's also, I mean, there was a couple of lads in China who were living in China who were doing really interesting videos riding around their motorbikes in China, and it has just ascended as they've needed to make more money from it as YouTube's payout rates go down, which they apparently have. They've just gone into clickbait crap. It's absolute trash. And they were making fantastic videos riding around. It was called a channel's called ADV China. Go check out some of their older stuff, because they've got these radio mics on, or walkie-talkies. They're talking to each other. They're riding around these motorbikes around these Chinese cities or countrysides, and you're seeing all the stuff you don't usually see. It's absolutely fascinating, but it has just descended into absolute crap because they have to get the bums on seats to get the ad revenue, because YouTube's gone down the pan on that stuff. Still don't take adverts here. Still don't take them. Until they force me to, I'm not going to do it. And I've got no idea how that impacts views on the channel. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I don't know how that factors in to the algorithm. YouTube used to say it didn't. I don't believe them. I just don't. But unless they've done this, they've revised the terms and conditions that said now they can force anyone to take adverts. And they still haven't, so we're still ad-free, and that's fine. I'll be ad-free for as long as I do that. I don't even know how much it would make. I think you'd have to have 10 times the figures to make any kind of reasonable amount of money out of it, to make it worthwhile. I mean, you've got to sit. I watched some stuff, Hoovie's Garage in America. You're sitting through like 3 or 4 adverts in the thing, because they want everyone to pay for YouTube now. And there is a plan B. If they force adverts on the main channel, I would almost certainly get a Vimeo channel going where the videos also run ad-free. So there is that. We're also on that, ChinnyVision's also on that Dodgy site. I can't remember the name of it now. I linked this site that basically will mirror your YouTube channel for free. And it's not as fast, but it works, and it gets you away from YouTube. And I thought, hey, that's a great backup. That'll work. And it turns out they're all far-right Trump supporters. And I know Jambita took his entire channel off that platform. I just shut up a bit about it, because I thought, on the one hand, they're fascists. On the other hand, they're paying for my storage. And it's not costing me. It's a backup from YouTube. So if anything goes wrong with YouTube, it's still all somewhere, and I'm not having to pay for it. So I just didn't say anything, and it's still being mirrored over there, but I'm not recommending it probably until it calms down, if at all. So I'm sorry, I've got library, that's it, LBRY. That's me with my practical hat on, thinking, well, it's costing them money. It's not costing me money. So if they want it, they can have it. That's the one, Dave Jones. Yeah, that's where I learnt about it. And I like Dave on many things and other things, but he's another professional one, you see. He's got to make a living. And I'll sit here, I'll wait and see. And also, from reading what Jan had to go through to delete all his videos, I just thought, yeah, probably not worth several hours of my time to do that, because there's, how many episodes of ChinnyVision? 380 plus extras. Yeah, manually delete each one. Yeah, I'm not really gonna do that. As Wagyu says, you're not sure when your video's going to disappear, so they're in more places. But I would. Vimeo would cost a fair bit to do. They're not cheap. I've got corporate accounts for them. And now I can't stick them on there because I've got my corporate one and I've got clients' corporate ones as well. And I would just have to buy a yearly sub for that. But I don't want to do that unless I have to, because finances being what they are at the moment. I worked out the other, yes, so I'm only £1.59 an hour for every hour I'm in work this month, because I don't get any government subsidy and there's no kind of help available. So it's like, yeah, that's like a 1972 wage or something, I don't know, £1.52, late 70s, early 80s, something like that. That's the amount of work I've taken in this month. Hopefully, as we get back towards normality, I'll be out and about doing my work again, so that'd be good. But yeah, that was my month, and that's, let's be honest, there's people out there without any jobs at all at the moment, so I can't complain. And yeah, hard, isn't it? I don't want to. We're having a cheery stream here, and we're kind of getting into serious subjects. And yeah, Google has a rich history of just deleting things when they get bored of it, and how are they going to continue storing all this stuff at the rate YouTube is growing? I'm not exactly good for them, am I? I've got, goodness knows, a ChinnyVision video gets uploaded. It's about 2 gig, typically, something like that. And then there's 380 episodes. That's all got to be stored somewhere, mirrored. I'm costing them a lot of money because there's no advertising on any of that. So how are they making it? And of course, I'm sure they're going to turn around. I'm going to wake up one morning and just find adverts on the channel. I know, I'm kind of resigned to it, but for as long as we're getting away with it, then let's get away with it. What's going on in the comments here? Odyssey are worse than YouTube. Bitchy, you're talking stuff I don't understand. I'm not down with the kids. If I was down with the kids, this would be a Twitch stream. This would be a Twitch stream if I was down with the kids. Yeah, Wagyu, it's, how the hell can YouTube keep all this, you're quite right, they still do. But surely it's got to be a day of reckoning sooner or later, unless they're making enough money off of EV Blog, Hoovie's Garage and all that, or they're just going to push everyone to subscriptions by annoying them with ads. Yeah, and they could delete stuff with no views and, who knows? You can't assume it's going to be forever, or they might start saying they're charging for stuff, or I just don't know. And I don't know how this advertising thing is going to work either if they force it on the corporate accounts, because I've got clients with corporate accounts. So what are they going to think of a 30-second pre-roll advert before their video plays? Incidentally, I've got one idiot client who has enabled adverts on their YouTube account and therefore has adverts from rival companies. And I've told them about this and they don't do anything about it. Adverts from rival companies playing before their video does. And they are, insert your own expletive, idiots. Absolute idiots. Why would you do that? You've got to know what you're doing. They wouldn't they're a training company, let's put it like that. They wouldn't put me in their training staff. I'm not qualified to. What on earth makes them think that they've got one of their trainers running their YouTube account? He seems to think 20p a month ad revenue is worth the inconvenience of people probably never watching their video. But hey ho. All of ChinnyVision is backed up. I've stopped producing every video as a MOV now. They were for years. I've recently stopped because I've realised that was getting out of hand because the files were getting... Well, the files are very, very, very big, basically. So but I'm keeping all the footage now. That's smaller because it's all SD. Also means that you recapture games either. Right, how are we doing in the comments? Yep, Steve, it's a free service. Nobody's entitled to anything. You've just got to treat it as you find it. Really, as long as there's enough notice and there's a reasonable get out, you know, that's fine. What else we got going on? Impractical to self-host. No one is fine. The problem is with self-hosting videos is YouTube brings in such a huge amount of... Oh, hang on. I haven't scrolled down. My thing stopped a while ago. Sorry. Load of comments I haven't seen. Right, the problem with self-hosting videos is YouTube brings in a huge amount of views through itself, either through subscriptions or people logging on and getting your video shoved in their face. And that happens... Well, half the views for a new ChinnyVision video come through people logging onto YouTube and getting the latest video shoved in their face. And if enough people click through, YouTube will push you more. And what you see, not often for me, but I went through a run before Christmas, it must have been, of actually getting like where these surges coming from. Like these figures are higher than normal. Carrier command was one. Figures started looking abnormally high, and you suddenly realise that they're pushing you more. Because more people click through, they push you more, which comes back to that thumbnail thing of the cleavage and the Nintendo, Mario, and so on. More people click on you, the more YouTube will push you. What we got? So I've got these new comments I've not seen here. Dudley's got all his stuff backed up. Yeah, keep it backed up. Keep the original files. I keep most of my capture, unless it's seriously weird stuff I don't think I'm going to need again, because when we did the ChinnyVision calendars, I found I had to do a load of capture again because I hadn't kept the masters, so I'm now keeping pretty much everything I capture. Why do people stay with YouTube? Numbers. It's numbers. People complain about abusive relationship, censorship, money, views. You go put your video on library and you'll have no views. YouTube is views, basically. And it's bums on seats. It's a huge amount of people on there. And it's Google, so it's pushed. And people can complain all they like, but that's the simple fact. You'll be on there. Twitch is alive. I mean, all the people who cleared off Twitch for live. 64 people now watching this on YouTube. All the cool kids are over on Twitch. And that's where live seems to have gone, but they're not a on-demand platform, really. YouTube wants to be a TV service. It doesn't want me on there. It doesn't want people like you on there. We're just on there. We're just means to an end for them to become a kind of TV service. They'll be interested in people like Nostalgia Nerd and so on with the numbers. I love Nostalgia Nerd. Great chat, great videos. But he's got the kind of numbers they're interested in. They're not interested in me. They're not interested in, most of you. I don't know. The people I've seen in the list, people about the same size as this channel, they're not interested in us. But we're there for the time being, and that's fine. We're along for the ride. We might find it turned off one day. fair enough. You know, YouTube is kind of, it's the only real game in town. Vimeo's not it. I've got corporate stuff on Vimeo. For clients, schools and charities and stuff. They'll do good business on there. They don't need that audience necessarily to come to. They can direct the, if you can direct the audience to you, Vimeo's fine. But no one's going to stumble across you on Vimeo because they'll look at cat videos, or because they were watching Hoovy's Garage, or because they were watching Ashens. Vimeo is a far superior video hosting service. Better quality picture, far better back end, nicer to manage. It costs money as a business account. It's expensive. Is it getting on for 200 quid a year? I think for a decently sized account. I'm allowed a creator's account because I'm a creator. So I've got a creator's account. Then I've got the corporate accounts as well, which cost the serious money. And it's a far superior experience, but you're not going to get bums on seats. That's the simple fact. And the algorithm's really weird as well. I've had something really weird happen with my algorithm on YouTube lately. There's a guy who uploads loads of Noel Edmonds TV shows. He's doing Saturday Roadshow at the moment, Andy Pearman. Obviously, Noel Edmonds is known for gunging people. And I've started to get in my recommendations clips of, and it is just women being gunged, suggested to me, right? I think there's weirdos who like to see videos of women being gunged. They might also be going through clips of Noel's house party to find those clips, and therefore if you're watching Andy Pearman's channel, which has old clips of the Radio 1 Roadshow, Noel Edmonds Saturday Roadshow and house party and so on, if you're on there looking at that stuff, it thinks you're one of those weirdos. And I'm getting those, yeah, Wagyu, you're going to get that as well then. You're going to get the dodgy clips of ladies being gunged. I can't, but train videos as well, that's Mr. PSB's fault. I now get endless train videos. I don't get much retro content pushed at me. It's all electronics and train videos and whatever Andy Pearman's uploaded this week. And I will click, not on the ladies being gunged, I want to make that quite clear, but on, oh, Noel Edmonds Saturday Roadshow in space. I'll have a quick skip through that because there's going to be some hilarity, and I mean hilarity as in, isn't Noel ludicrous in that? Sounds like clips of video game characters taking damage that channels make. Private browsing. Oh, yes. No, Thomas Tank Engine. I watched something on that once. I can't remember what it was. It was that guy having that meltdown over the new Thomas Tank Engine. I watched that, and then for the next 3 weeks, all I was getting was Thomas Tank Engine coverage. Suggestions. Level crossing videos, yeah, I got a lot of those thanks to Mr. PSB. And there's a Japanese live cam of this brilliant train station. I'm turning into him. I'm turning into Mr. PSB. There's this train station with all these bullet trains lined up and they come and go. It's a bit like kind of Charing Cross, but sexy. Not in sexy trains, but just kind of Japanese with high rise and stuff and all sorts of stuff around. And there's all these bits pixelated at the edge. And it's Japanese, I'm thinking, what are they pixelating at the edge of this picture? What is it? Oh dear, well, I'm going to wrap up in a little bit. It's getting on for 11 o'clock. And we're going for 10 more minutes and then after my voice is actually going. But yeah, there's some weird stuff. There is some weird stuff out there. Yes, Oz Retro Comp gets a lot of Cortina videos. Also, YouTube will randomly stop recommending stuff that you actually like, that you haven't actually subscribed to. It was at Hubnut suddenly stopped coming up on my feed, and I thought, hasn't he done anything for a while? And no, he was doing stuff. I can't remember the name of the channel. It was just it was a live feed of this Japanese kind of train depot. The one I watch all the time, and I keep on linking this everywhere, is that Finnish one, Levi something, in the ski resort in Finland, where it's always snowing, there's always people skiing in the ski lifts. It's just my escape during this madness, because I tried watching some of the Cornish webcams, but it's also grey and depressing down there that I really wasn't kind of feeling much escapism. And I was also feeling I'd quite like to be down there. I want to be in Cornwall. I might order some Cornish pasties on Monday. My phone keeps reminding me this week, every year, I'm usually in Cornwall for a few days, and I'm not this year. And it's like, oh, I want to be in Cornwall. See, we haven't done anything for ChinnyVision Rocks for forever, basically. Last time I did anything at ChinnyVision Rocks, I dropped the camera in the sea and it broke. Ironically, when I was shooting on an actual boat in August, nothing went in the sea. Everything remained intact and dry and everything was fine. I go down the rocks to do something quick and simple. I end up destroying a camera. Yeah, Mr. Gunn. Mr. Gunn, he takes his thing to Subway. The American gun guy. Yeah, I mean, I was probably subbed him at one stage. I used to watch a lot of his stuff on treadmill, his keyboard stuff, because some of it's fairly interesting. But yeah, what a. By the way, me telling all the gun nuts to go away resulted in a massive drop of 2 followers. So that's just. I don't think the gun nuts are actually watching anyway, which is good. I've skipped. I keep locking my comments, so I'm not scrolling through properly as well. Yeah, I mean, the open carry thing as well. That's legal. I mean, we've got to get our heads around this as British people, right? You and I can't take an axe down to B&Q. We can if you're taking it back, obviously. That's a bad example. Let's start again. I can't take an axe down to the chip shop because there's laws against that. Clearly, in Texas, you can take a bleeding great big gun down to Subway, and that's legal. And there's no... As weird and abhorrent and awful as that seems to us in the UK, like marrying 12-year-olds, is that still legal there? Which is illegal here, but, John Peel, of all people, married somebody who would have been underage here. We can complain, but it's legal there, right? But some of the stuff he said, no. That was just abhorrent. You can't go around saying... actually denying it. He didn't outright deny that it happened, but it was just, you could take your own reading of it. Mark, your thoughts are welcome. I don't want to go too much into him here because we've had enough of that this week, but he's about 10 feet underwater at the moment, so yeah. Yeah, Geiger Punk. Yeah, I know. It's yeah. So, Windsor Davis Top GIF. Yes. So, I'm going to wrap up now. I think thanks to everyone who tuned in. Prize people, I will be in touch with you to get your prizes to you. My voice is going and hurting now, hence why I'm packing up. I can't believe there's still 62 people actually watching a stream of a table. Basically, it's absolutely nuts. But yeah, thank you for watching. ChinnyVision is back on no video tomorrow because we're doing this video on Thursday night. It's Saturday now, is it? Losing track of days. Probably be Harry of Attack. Probably. John Peel married somebody who was perfectly legal over there a long time ago. I don't think anyone... It was like a 15-year-old. It was Texas or somewhere. I mean, Elvis Presley, goodness me. And that's a whole different league. But it's very complex. Anyway, thank you for watching. Harry Attack on Sunday. Thanks to everyone who tuned in. And I will speak to you all very soon. Much appreciated you came to watch, because there wasn't a lot to watch really. But actually, let's play out with the Art of Town theme. There we go. Nice and relaxing. And thank you all for watching. And remember to turn your sets off afterwards, because they might catch fire or something.